Hello and welcome back to another full step-by-step PC build guide. So if you don't like having lots of cables on display, we're not going to need those today, but I'm going to be showing you how to do a back connector build. And we've got the perfect case for it. This is the Gigabyte C500 Panoramic Stealth Ice, and paired up with this, we've got the B650E Aorus Stealth Ice. If you like any of the parts you see in the build, you're going to find links to all these parts in the description. So let's make a start by taking a detailed look at the case. So to remove our case's tempered glass panel, you can get your hand in here, pull it out from the top, and then lift up and away. And our tempered glass front panel is removed in exactly the same way. To remove our other side panel, there's two captive thumb screws on the back we need to loosen. And once these have been loosened, we're going to be able to pull the panel backwards and remove it. Taking a look at the back of the panel we've just removed, you'll notice we've got this perforated area with a magnetically attached dust filter, and this is to provide airflow for our side-mounted fans. Taking a look at our top I/O, we've got a power and reset button, we've got a combined headphone and microphone jack, we've got two USB Type-A and a single Type-C port. And we've got a magnetically attached dust filter on the top of the case that can simply be pulled away. And on the bottom of the case, we've got a full-length magnetically attached dust filter. So in terms of fan and radiator support, you can see Gigabyte have installed three 120mm 3-pin voltage-controlled ARGB fans on the side of the case. And if we look at the fans, you'll notice these are reverse blade fans, so they're going to be acting as intake, bringing cool air into the case, but we've still got the good side of the fans on display. If you prefer on the side of the case, it is possible to mount up to a 360mm radiator, but there is no 140mm fans or 280mm radiator support on the side. Up top, it's up to 3 120 or 2 140mm fans, or up to a 360 or 280mm radiator. You can see at the rear of the case we've got another 120mm ARGB fan pre-installed, although if you prefer it is possible to mount up to a 140mm fan or radiator. You're also going to be able to mount up to three 120mm fans at the bottom of the case, two on the power supply side and one down here. You can see our fan holes here are standard fan holes, so you're going to set your fan here and then use standard screws to screw them in from underneath, whereas we've got smaller holes here on the power supply shroud, and you're going to set your fans on and then use long radiator screws to screw down into the case. Now, if you do want to install fans here, you are going to have to pick up some long radiator screws to secure them because they aren't included with the case. In terms of motherboard support, the case supports motherboards up to ATX in size, and you see we do have the extra cutouts around the side for back connector motherboards, and we've got this second row here, meaning you're going to be able to use a micro ATX motherboard with back connectors as well. If you want to go with a CPU air cooler, the maximum height supported is up to 176mm. So the case doesn't come with all the standoffs installed, so we're going to have to install 3 extra standoffs for our ATX motherboard. Now, the standoffs aren't the easiest to screw in all the way, they've gone in part of the way. And what you can do is get a standoff insertion and removal tool that goes over the standoffs. You're then able to put your screwdriver over the end and insert the standoffs. Unfortunately, the case doesn't come with this tool, but if you don't have one, you can just use a pair of pliers. At the rear of the case, we've got 7 horizontal PCI expansion slot brackets. Now, unfortunately, these are the breakaway type. And in terms of graphics card support, the maximum length supported is up to 410mm. So if you fancy mounting your graphics card vertically in this case, it is possible to rotate this bracket around 90 degrees. So first of all, there's 4 screws we need to remove. Then with the 4 screws removed, we can bring the bracket into the case, rotate it around 90 degrees, and then re-secure it with the 4 screws. So you don't need to worry about a large gap at the top, because in the case accessory box you do get this little cover. So it simply slots into place and then can be secured using 2 screws. So this is what the bracket looks like in the vertical position. If we take a look at the bottom of the case, you'll notice that we've got 2 different sets of holes. There's ones here and ones here. So you can install your riser card in 2 different positions. All you need to do is take the long standoffs that come in the case, screw them in at the bottom, one here and one here, and then you're going to be able to secure your riser cable on top of the standoffs. Now, importantly, the riser cable that you need if you want to mount your graphics card vertically isn't included with the case. If you're not going with a fan at the bottom, another option you have is to install a 3.5-inch drive. You're going to simply set your 3.5-inch drive on top and then screw it in from underneath. In terms of other drive mounting locations, on this removable plate at the back, we can install a single 3.5-inch drive or 2 2.5-inch drives. This bracket is removable. There's a non-captive thumb screw at the bottom, which we need to remove, and then you are simply able to tilt the bracket up and lift it up to remove it from the case. So our final 2.5-inch drive mounting location is at the front of our power supply shroud, so we can simply set our drive into place, and then there's holes at the front we can secure it into place. You can see that our case comes with a built-in fan and ARGB hub, So we've got 6 3-pin fan connectors as well as 6 3-pin 5V ARGB connectors. So you can see our 4 pre-installed case fans are already connected up, leaving us 2 spare connectors if we did want to install additional fans. We're going to have motherboard control. All we need to do is plug the ARGB and a 4-pin fan connector into a PWM fan header on our motherboard. And then don't forget to plug in the SATA power cable to power the hub. And our power supply is going to go down at the bottom, and the case supports full-sized ATX power supplies up to a maximum length of 200mm. So how clean does this motherboard look with all the connectors on the back of it? Now we can't even see screw holes on the front of it, and that's because they are all hidden. So we've got this magnetically attached panel here we need to remove, and then you can see our screw holes are here. We've got another panel here we can pull off, again magnetically attached. And although I'm planning to install my M.2 SSD in the top slot, we are going to have to remove this bottom slot cover to get access to the holes. So we've got this little clip, we just need to give it a push, and then we're going to be able to tilt the panel up. To open our socket cover, we need to push this lever down all the way towards the middle of the motherboard, and then we're going to be able to open the socket cover up. We can carefully lower our CPU down into the socket, making sure we've got the text the correct way up and holding it by the edges. And there's little notches at the top and the bottom are going to help get it lined up. Once we're happy it's sitting correctly in the socket, we can go ahead and close our socket cover down again. And then as we close the lever down, the white bit of plastic on the cover will pop off, and we'll put it in the motherboard box for safekeeping. To remove the heatsink from our top M.2 SSD slot, we need to push this lever up, and then we're going to be able to tilt the heatsink up and lift it away. The good news, installing our M.2 SSD is going to be completely toolless. All we need to do is insert it into the socket and flatten it down, and the little clip is going to hold it in place. If you're using the motherboard from new, there'll be some plastic protection on the back of the heatsink that you're going to need to remove, and then we can replace the heatsink. We're going to be installing our RAM in the second and fourth slot along from the CPU, so I'm going to go ahead and open the clips on these slots. Then all we need to do is line the RAM up with the slots, and once we're happy everything's lined up, it's just going to be some firm pressure, and our RAM is going to clip into place. Then it's exactly the same thing with our second set. Next we can set the motherboard in the case, line it up with the standoffs at the back, and then we're going to secure into place using the screws in the little lip around the outside from the case accessory box. So you'll notice we don't have a middle hole on this motherboard, and even if we do remove the heatsink for our M.2 SSD, you'll see that there's actually no screw hole. But our motherboard's going to be absolutely fine held on with 8 screws. So we can replace our bottom heatsink. And I'm not going to be replacing these 2 covers just yet. The reason is they hide this little tract up here towards the back of the motherboard, and I'm planning on passing my AIO cables through here. So once we pass the cables through here, we'll be able to return these covers. Okay, so next thing to do is get all our case cables plugged in, and you can see all the connectors are coming through the cutout in the back of the case. So our HD audio cable is going to go into this header down the bottom of the motherboard. So we'll go ahead and plug it in with the HD audio text facing up the way. Next to that, we've got a 3-pin 5V ARGB header and a system fan header. So I'm going to take the cables coming from our fan and ARGB hub and get them plugged in. So next we've got our front panel connectors, and they're going to go into this header here, and it's the pins towards the right hand side of the header that we're going to use. So starting off in the bottom row, pins 1 and 2 are for power LED positive and power LED negative. And then our next 2 pins are for our power switch. And then the pins directly above our power switch are for our reset switch. Our USB 3.0 cable is going to go into this header here. So it's just a matter of lining the cable up with the header and pushing into place. And then our front panel Type-C cable is going to go into this header here. So we'll go ahead and line it up and push into place. So one thing I'm not particularly happy with is the location of these cables here. They're running directly behind these cutouts. And when you actually look in from the front of the case, you can see all the cables. So I think what I'm going to do is bring them over the top, and we've got an additional row here we can manage the cables at. This is going to mean moving our fan and ARGB hub slightly towards the back of the case. It's held on with some double-sided adhesive, so I'm just going to free that up, and then we can move it this direction. So much happier with that. Now when we look through these cutouts, there's not going to be any cables on display. Next, we're ready to install our power supply. I've gone ahead and plugged in the cables we're going to need. So I've plugged in our 24-pin motherboard cable. I've plugged in an EPS cable to provide additional power to our CPU. We've plugged in a 12-volt 2x6 cable to power our graphics card, and I plugged in a SATA cable and this is to power our fan and ARGB hub and also our I/O. We can go ahead and set our power supply into the bottom of the case, making sure we've got our fan facing down the way. And then we can secure the power supply into place using 4 of the large power supply screws from the case accessory box. So this particular power supply has a smart zero fan mode, so whenever the power supply is under low load, the fan stops spinning, helping reduce noise in the build. So we're going to want to turn this to on. So we're going to need to plug our 8-pin EPS cable into this header at the top of the motherboard. So we can go ahead and get it plugged in. And we'll get our 24-pin cable plugged in as well. And then we've just got the SATA cable coming from our fan and ARGB hub to plug into the SATA cable coming from our power supply. Next we can set our I/O into place at the top of the case, and we'll secure it into place at the top using the short radiator screws. And then we can replace the top dust filter. I'm just going to pass the cables coming from the fans and the radiator through to the back. Next we can add some thermal paste to the centre of the CPU. If you're using the I/O from new, remember to remove the plastic protection from the cold plate. So we just need to get our top bracket over the clip on the motherboard, and then we'll get the bottom bracket installed. And then we just need to tighten each of the clips up in turn. Next, I just want to pass all the cables through to the back. So as we've mentioned, there is a little gap at the top, we can pass them through. So now that we've got the cables routed through to the back, we can replace the covers on the motherboard. Then we need to get the cables coming from our pump plugged in. So I'm going to plug the PWM cable into our CPU opt header. We can plug the USB cable into USB 2.0 header at the bottom of the motherboard. And we can plug the SATA cable into our power supply. So that just leaves the cables coming from the fans on the radiator to get plugged in. And with the I/O, we do get this Lian Uni fan hub. So we're going to go ahead and get the PWM cable plugged into port number 1 and also the ARGB cable plugged into port number 1. So this hub has 3 spare channels, so if you were planning on adding an additional Lian Uni fans, it would be pretty simple just to plug them into this hub. So next we need to get all the cables plugged in at the bottom, plugged into our motherboard. So the 4-pin PWM cable I'm going to plug into our CPU fan header, which is this middle header at the top. We've got another ARGB header over to the side of the motherboard to plug into, as well as another USB 2.0 header down the bottom of the motherboard. And then last thing is to plug the SATA cable into our power supply. We're now ready to install our graphics card, and we're going to need to remove the 2nd and 3rd expansion slot cover from the top. Now these are the breakaway types, so all we need to do is push them down from the top, and we're going to want to wiggle them up and down a little bit to break them off. And then same thing with the next one down. We're now ready to install our graphics card, and to open the slot cover we just need to push this lever. We can then line our graphics card up with the slot, and then once we're happy everything's lined up correctly, it's just some firm pressure and the graphics card is going to clip into place. And then we'll secure it into place with 2 of the small screws with the flat head from the case accessory bag. Then we just need to bring our 12V 2x6 cable through the cutout at the bottom and get it plugged into the graphics card. And then we'll just tidy up the cable. Okay, last thing to do is some cable management and get the panels back on again. Okay, so that's the build complete, and I think these back connector systems really simplify the building process, and the build you get in the end is absolutely stunning. Now, if you don't know how to set the PC up, I have made another video that covers everything, including installing Windows, the drivers, the RGB software, entering the BIOS, updating the BIOS, and adjusting all the BIOS settings, and I'll put a link to that video in the description. In terms of our temperatures, our Ryzen 7 9700X idled at 43 degrees and reached a maximum of 69 degrees during a 10-minute IDA64 stability test. The RTX 4070 Founders Edition idled at 28 degrees and reached a maximum of 68 degrees during the stability test. Noise levels were really good, and we had average noise levels of 32 decibels at idle and 37 decibels under load. So in terms of building in the case, as I mentioned, using the stealth motherboard with the back connectors really simplified the building process. The main thing to be careful of is that you're not having any cables on display at the front. So take your time and cable manage as you go, and you should have a pretty easy building experience in this case. So in terms of price, this case will set you back just under £95 in the UK. And for that price, you are getting a pretty stunning looking case with 4 included case fans with ARGB on them and a built-in fan and ARGB hub. So although the case does have an awful lot going for it, it definitely isn't perfect. I do think that Gigabyte could have added a couple of silicone covers over towards the right hand side of the motherboard, and that would have just hid all the cables at the back if you were going for a back connector motherboard. In terms of other things I would like to see, it would have been nice if the fans had 4-pin PWM connectors on them, although that being said, on the standard motherboard fan curves, the fans are lovely and quiet and do a good job of cooling the build. Another thing I would like to have seen was a single front panel connector rather than lots of separate cables. I do think if you're not going to install all the standoffs in the motherboard, you should include the standoff insertion and removal tool in the case accessory bag. Likewise, if you're going to have fan mounting at the bottom using long radiator screws, I do think they should be included as well. But probably the biggest thing I dislike about this case is the breakaway PCIe slots at the back. I absolutely hate this, and I really wish case manufacturers would stop doing this. So there is definitely a few tweaks that Gigabyte could make to this case to improve it, although if you are looking for a case to do a back connector build and you do want to stay in that Gigabyte Aorus ecosystem, I think you'll be very happy with the build you put together in this case. If you have enjoyed this full step-by-step PC build guide, please remember to give it a thumbs up, and if you're currently not subscribed to the channel, please hit the subscribe button as well. Thanks for watching.